Today we're going to take a look at the installation of the OspreyPOS version 11.7.100 server. Please note this is based on the first tech preview, and as such certain things may change. The first thing to do is to install OpenEdge 11.7.5 as of this recording, 64-bit. This is a change from prior versions of Osprey Point of Sale. We used to install in 32-bit. As of now, the server is required to be 64-bit. The second step is to obtain the OspreyPOS Server 11.7.100 installer, which we have and we've dropped on the desktop. At this point, I'm going to run the installer. I'm going to right-click and choose to run as administrator. Which will launch the installer. The installation is fundamentally similar to prior versions of the Osprey Point of Sale server. We're going to start with the welcome screen. We're going to click next there. We have our license agreement, which you should read. I'm going to agree to it since I've already read it more times than I care to admit. Click next, and then click install to begin the installation. At this point, it will start to copy files such as our program code, our assemblies, our label templates, third-party integrations, etc. As you'll notice, once the main install shield copying commences and finishes, we will get several new icons created, which we'll touch on in a little bit, and then the installation will go through its typical post-install configuration, eliminating things such as having to go into OpenEdge Explorer and set up databases and such. Please do note that this post configuration will take a little longer than in prior versions. That is simply because there is more configuration going on as there are more components being added to simplify other things. There'll be a separate video touching on some of these differences, but among them are the new PAS OE app server instead of the classic app server that's been previously used, the changes to some of the messengers and how those work. There's an additional web client application for point of sale and so on. At this point, it's going through and repairing our databases and then installing some of the runtimes we need, such as the Visual C runtime for our Apache distribution. As in prior versions, Apache is used as a front end for the web clients. Now we're going to go through and do some housekeeping, such as cleaning up OpenEdge Explorer. And again, all of these steps are the similar steps that you would have seen in 11.4.9.9 and prior. Next, we're going to install Apache as a service. That can be disabled if you're not using any of the web clients. However, that is highly unlikely since the point of sale piece, the mobile piece, and the back office piece are now all web client based. Next, we're going to copy our properties file over and activate our demo license. And now we're going to restart our OpenEdge processes. Now we're going to register our PAS OE, which is our Pacific App Server for OpenEdge. That replaces the classic app server in 11.4.9.9 and prior. Next, we're going to convert the PAS OE to a service. So in addition to being managed from OpenEdge Explorer, it will also be able to be started and stopped from the services control panel applet, which makes it easier for ORS to upgrade the PAS OE in future maintenance packs. At this point, our wizard is finished, so we're going to click on Finish to wrap it up. And at this point, we need to restart. So we're going to pause the video while we restart the machine, and then we're going to come back and take a look at a few things before we conclude this particular video. Okay, as you can see, we've now rebooted, and I've removed the installation icon to the recycle bin, so we have a little less screen clutter. What we have left now are the 4 Osprey point of sale icons. We have the traditional Osprey point of sale back office right here. These 3 icons are quote unquote new icons, however, their functionality replicates functionality that was previously found in the OpenEdge Explorer under App Servers. We have our sender, we have our receiver, and we have our emailer. These are fundamentally equivalent to those old classic app servers, Osprey Emailer and the Messenger and Producer. If you are a single store and not using Osprey Host, these 3 icons can be deleted. You won't be needing them. If, however, you are using the emailer to send out emails, or you are using the real-time sender and receiver, or both, you will want to place these icons in the startup folder of a user that will be logged on, hopefully automatically, on the server. These can simply be dragged into that user's startup folder. Since that will vary slightly by operating system as to how to get there, please refer to your operating system support. Additionally, if these icons are deleted accidentally, or for example, you're currently a single store and in the future you go to multiple stores and our Osprey Host product and you need them back, duplicates of these icons are located inside the Osprey folder. So if we open up Windows Explorer here, browse out to our C drive, our ORS folder, Osprey point of sale, into our icons folder, you will see duplicates of all 4 icons. These can be simply dragged back out to the desktop or startup folder of the desired user as is needed. Next, we're going to go ahead and launch our server, actually back office. Again, as with prior versions, your first time you want to right click and run as administrator so we can create the entries in the event viewer for our event logging. If you do not do this, you'll get a Windows security error, and you'll continue to get that until you do run the application as an administrator at least once. Okay, our login has come up. The initial login is the same as traditional, Unified POS 1966. And it should prompt you to change that password, so 1966, and then you can change your new password. If you're doing any integrated credit, and frankly, even if you're not, it would be recommended to enable complex passwords and configure the password specifications such as minimum length, required characters, etc. In this case, we're not, so we're going to simply use one for our new and confirmed passwords. Okay, our menu has now come up. There have been some small changes and maybe a few large changes to the interface. There's been a lot of other changes as well. Those are going to be covered in a series of small videos that will be put into a playlist. However, to touch on a couple of ones that are more significant, the interface itself has changed. So for example, if I open up a screen, instead of it being paned into this side of the window as before, it is a standalone screen. I can drag it, drop it, resize it, etc. as I see fit. So if I want to make this bigger, I can make it bigger, I can make it smaller. I can open up other screens. So for example, let's open up my system parameters at the same time. As I do, so as you can see, I've got other ones. I can drag them as I see fit. If you notice, if I go down here over the icons, I get an icon for each particular screen. If, for example, I was done with the counting parameters, I could close that. I could have closed it just as easily by coming up here and clicking. Now let's go ahead and open up, say, employees. That. If I go to close the app with my screens open, it will go ahead and close the screens and close the application. I'm going to go ahead and reopen it. This time I will not have to run as an administrator because the entry point into the event viewer has already been created. Okay, we're going to go ahead and sign back in, this time with our newly changed password. Oops, it would help if we could spell. There we go. And our app will go ahead and launch. Other functionality is similar. For example, again, we can pin or unpin our main menu. However, with the new screen layout, that's generally not necessary. Our notifications still appear down here. One thing that is always recommended, especially if you're upgrading from a prior version, is to go into your configuration under back office security levels and confirm that you have access set up as desired. As is always the case with Osprey Point of Sale, and for that matter Osprey Host, if new options are added, they are not turned on by default. That is to prevent people from getting access to things that they shouldn't. You have to physically go in and give access. So for example, if I go in under admin here, and for example expand reports, you'll notice I have access to everything. If I go into Excel, same thing. Tools. So this particular security level has already been updated, but if I go into one that has not, such as Pricer, some of the new features, for example, there's a review journal messages, which you notice is not checked. If I wanted to give access to that, I would want to go ahead and check it and then save. A shortcut, if you want to just make sure that you have access to everything, let's go back to the admin level for that, is if you turn on or turn off and turn back on a higher level option, it will turn off and then turn on everything underneath of it. So a quick way to make sure you have access to everything if you're an admin or supervisor is to simply come in here and do this. Now again, that will do everything underneath of it, so you want to exercise care. This will work on sub-levels too. So for example, let's say I had come in here and I want to turn everything on for department. So right now export all records is off. I could turn everything off and turn it back on. Once I'm finished, again, I'll want to save that. That's pretty much the long and the short of installing the Osprey Point of Sale Server. As I said, there will be several other videos installing the Point of Sale web client, installing the back office web client, installing the mobile web client, and then there'll be a couple of shorter videos on differences, including logging, configuration, and the like. So thank you for your time and have a good day.